Life Check Yourself with Steffani LeFevour. Why your chaos might be the signal for growth. Ladies, welcome. And also, I just had a man message me who said, I guess I'm one of the weird guys that's listening to your podcast. And I'm like, guys, you're not weird. You can life check yourself. So welcome to you too. Today I'm here with Steffani LeFevour. She's a thought leader, author, and soul strategist, helping women take their power back and stop settling for lives that don't feel like truth. And I think she would also say that men can take their power back also. She's known for turning deep inner work into tangible results, which is what I love. And she blends emotional fluency with real world strategy to help women reclaim their joy, rewrite their stories, and consciously create the life they were meant for. I'm so excited that you're here.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
So before we hit the old record button, you were talking about your first book, which is about being a badass mom. So we could talk about that. But you have a new book that is in high demand that's going to be coming out next year, and it's called Soul Assignments. So I just want to go there because I'm all things soul. Let's just start at the beginning. What does that even mean to you in your world? What are soul assignments, and why did you write the book?
Oh, yeah. So soul assignments to me are the experiences in life that our soul desired to have, like the prearranged things, like where we landed in this human body on this planet, like the parents that we chose, the big relationships, like the big deep relationships, like our spouses, our children, some of our best friends, and some big life experiences that we chose to advance our soul. Some of them are great experiences. A lot of them are not. And we can either choose to be a victim of those experiences and think that we didn't choose them. It wasn't us. It's not our fault. And it's not our responsibility. And then we're handing our life over to those experiences.
Yeah.
Or we can say, wow, what if we chose these? What if we chose these for the exact unfolding of our soul and everyone else's soul whose life we touch? Then we're in our power. And from that place, I think we can radically accept those soul assignments, find the power in those soul assignments, and then from there, we can consciously start creating a life we love. But we can't do that from a life of victimhood, only from the power. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think this, there's so much going on right now around chaos, right? And in the world, people, I was just talking to someone in my community, and I was saying, like there's chaos in the world, and then there's also people having their own internal chaos, whether it's like illness or taking care of elderly parents or having adult children that are struggling. And so why do you think, with all this collective sort of chaos going on around us, I think this idea of soul assignment is really resonating so much right now in the ethos? Like, people are really curious about soul and soul alignment. So why do you think this is resonating, especially for the women that are, juggling all of those things at the same time?
I mean, I think the chaos is an opportunity. It's all opportunity. It's an opportunity to either react and spiral out and spin out and get more experience of chaos and mayhem, or it's an opportunity to look within and to respond and to show up as who we really want to show up as. Every external opportunity of chaos is an opportunity for us to learn who we are and show up as who we want to be. Unless we hand over our well-being to the circumstances, and we go, oh, poor me, the chaos, and I have no control over that. Well, that's a choice too, right? And so I'm not shaming anyone or blaming anyone for their choices, because we get to choose, as these souls having a human experience, what we want to experience. Some people might want to experience more struggle and strife and chaos. That might be why they're here. That's okay. But I think once we bring a level of awareness to our soul experience and we really start looking at things from a soul level, that's where we deepen our experience and where choice becomes really prevalent, and where we can say, oh, do I want to keep choosing that? Or do I want to choose it?
I was just reading something today about the conversations that people have, and that it's so easy to be around people that are not making that choice and get drawn in. And it's funny, I have a friend who, every time there's one of those conversations, I literally I go away. I change the subject. I go off and I dance. I go do something else. And he's like, oh, I know you don't like it when I talk. And I was like, no, it's not that I don't like it. It's that I don't want to be part of that conversation. Like, to me, that is not what I'm here to focus on. Right. Because I believe like that might be going out externally, but all I can do is control here. And I think it's so, people be like, oh, how could you say that? How could you, and I think it's like, even that, like that inner conflict that we're having around, do I just fit in? Do I just stay quiet because that's what this is happening around me? Or do I pivot? Is even part of our soul assignment, right? Like if we keep finding ourselves in these situations where everyone around you is talking about what's wrong with their life.
Yeah. I mean, we always have that choice, right? And so do I contribute to the chaos and the conversation and the negativity to fit in? Or do I maintain my boundary, which is not that I'm going to stop you from having the conversation. My boundary is that I'm going to remove myself from the conversation. Like, boundaries are what we're going to agree to do to keep us safe and sane. The boundaries are not around stopping all conversations around the world that don't trigger us. It's that when I know that I can't contribute in a positive way and that's draining my energy, I'm going to walk away. I mean, that's, our free will. That's our choice. And that's a powerful one. That's a great boundary to stay safe and sane and happy, because our energy matters, our attention matters. And so I am just like you. Like, I am out of the closet with my positivity. I'm very complaint free. Like, people can come to me and we can talk about solutions and I can be there for people 100%. That's not to say you can't come to me if there's a problem. Of course you can, but know that we're going to look for the solutions and that we're going to find your power there. And that we're going to have, some ideas of how you can get through this. We're not just going to vent about it, and we're not just going to be negative, and we're not just going to hand over our power to stuff.
Yeah, no, for sure. Okay. So you obviously have so much passion about this topic that you wrote a book about it. So I'm just curious, like, when was the moment in your life when you realized, I either look at this as like, this is the truth of the soul assignment, like challenges that you've gone through in your life. Or you could just, be a puddle on the floor. Like, what was that moment when you really discovered this for yourself, and how did it change things?
I think it was like a series of moments for me. I grew up here in the town that I'm living in right now, and my dad was a raging alcoholic. At the time when I was a kid, this is just all I knew. Like, I didn't know that I had a bad childhood because it was all I knew. My dad was an alcoholic. He left our family. My sister died in a drunk driving accident when I was 11. Yeah. So when I was a preteen and a teenager, all I knew was like heartbreak and grief and like drama and chaos. And so that's all I thought life was. And I was like, this sucks. I am broken. I am like, I didn't have like good role models and examples of like happy, healthy, wonderful lives. So it was a series for me, because those things were soul assignments. And at the time, I didn't know that. I just like stopped any belief in God or the universe at the time, because when bad things keep happening to you and you're young, you just forego believing in anything.
Yeah.
Not yourself, not God, not your family, not the community, not anything. So I was lucky enough in college to start finding personal growth, or it found me. Like, this is one of my first, those are soul assignments. But that was a soul assignment too, that like I got into Wayne Dyer and Deepak Chopra and Pema Chodron, and thank God for Marianne Williamson and her book, A Return to Love, because returning to love was a concept that like I didn't understand and was never ever taught to me. I wasn't taught about grieving. I wasn't taught about happiness. I wasn't taught about forgiveness. We didn't, in the 70s and 80s, we didn't talk about any of that stuff. Or at least we didn't in my family. Everyone showed up and did the best that they knew, but we didn't know much. So we were all on our own like grief islands, like trying to live on these islands of grief, not sharing what was working or what wasn't. And luckily I found my way to personal growth, and I had a choice. Like I remember in college making a choice of like, do I throw my life away and drink a lot and sleep around a lot and just like, self-destruct, sabotage my life, which was what I was choosing for almost 10 years. Or, do I work on this whatever's inside of here, on this human experience, on this soul experience that I believe I'm having, but I don't really know. And I chose to work on it. And I chose to work on it like my full-time job. I started reading books. I started going to conferences. I started going to retreats. I started like really doing the inner work and looking at my shadow and looking at, my childhood and going to therapy and doing all this stuff. But it was like a lot of things building up because it wasn't one thing, because later then you get like fired from a job and then you're dating a guy who's like your dad, who's an addict. And then you get married to that guy because he's now sober. And then you have kids. And that's a whole nother ballgame of, reestablishing like, who am I and what am I here to do? And so for me, it was just perpetual growth, and a lot of challenges along the way that led to more growth or led to those forks in the road. And most of the time I chose to grow and expand and to learn and to see it differently and to see how deep I could go down the rabbit hole to figure this out. And after decades of working on that myself, and I was a perpetual teacher, I would learn something and teach it. I would learn something. I wanted to teach it, I think, so that I would know it really well. Because when you teach it, when you're
you learn it.
You learn it, to a different degree than you had it before. So I was a perpetual teacher, and Neil Donald Walsh, who writes the books Conversations with God that I love, I've read everything he's ever written. I'd met him. I was on like a board. I was on this group of 1,000 with him. And I was on this call with him like about 2 years ago. And he said to me, just like looking in my eyes, nothing to do with this. He said, "When are you writing it?" And I said, "Writing what?" He's like, "The book that explains what you're talking about right now." And I was like, I said, I'm okay. I'll write it soon. It's been like on my heart for so long, but it's like bigger than me. I don't know. And he said, "You write that book and I'll write the foreword."
Oh my God, that's amazing.
I said, "Done." So the book is done and he wrote the foreword, and as you know, I'm shopping at the publishers and I have 2 contracts from publishers. So it'll be out next year. But I don't have a launch date yet or whatever. It just, again, it feels kind of bigger than me. It's this big message that I finally like collected and collaborated into this book, so that's that I'm really excited about.
So after listening to that story, someone might think like, oh, so are the hard things in life the most important soul assignments, or are there like subtle things that we're going through that someone might say, well, wow, I don't, what does that mean? Where are my soul assignments? Like if something wasn't that like, trauma with the capital T, what do you think? Do you think it's the hardest things? Do you think there's the smaller things that are also?
Yeah, I love helping people discover their soul assignments. I think I'm like a soul assignment whisperer. Like I can help find what theirs are, and maybe I can identify them and shine a light on them. And then they're like, yes, that was like, oh no, going to college there wasn't, but meeting that friend at school was, because it led to this, this, and this. It's like, I really believe that our soul knows our soul assignments, and that only our soul, like we are these souls, these energy beings, only our soul can identify our soul assignments or not. I can't say your soul assignment was living in Arkansas, going to school at, like, I can't tell you what your soul assignments are. Your soul can, but I can help guide you there. And anything I believe that had a big impact on your life was a soul assignment. Maybe there are some little things that had a little impact. Maybe there was a first grade teacher, that was a soul assignment. Maybe there was a third grade teacher that was not a soul assignment, that you're like, nope, you just know that it wasn't. So it really is up to you and your soul. You are the master. You're the guru. You will find it, and you'll know. The more you tap in, you will know.
Which leads into my next question, as if you knew what I was going to ask. So if someone's listening and they're like, whoa, how do I identify my my current soul assignment or a past one? Like, are there signs or questions? Like, what do they pay attention to start identifying these so that they can turn that awareness into being empowered?
Well, it's twofold. I mean, there are questions in my book. I help share what unique soul assignments are for other people. Sometimes you hear a unique soul assignment of someone else and it sparks in you and you go, oh my gosh, yes, I have that soul assignment too. So I share at the end of every chapter a unique soul assignment. But I have questions too, like just like some of the ones that I just said, like what big experiences in life have impacted me the most?
Yeah.
Everyone is so unique. If I said what 5 big experiences in your life have impacted you the most, everyone is going to have 5 different things. We might have an overlap of like the parents we chose or where we live, but really we're going to have 5 different things because our lives are that unique. So there are some questions that can help you get there. And the second part is dropping in is something that I teach to all of my clients and women who I coach. Is like the more you get to know yourself and the more I call it dropping in, the more that you connect to your own guidance, the easier these things are going to come. You're going to flex that muscle and you're going to fine tune to that. And that you're going to have more knowingness, more deep inner knowingness, and you'll find it.
You better, we got to get that publisher to get that out. Get this book out. So this is an interesting thing. I had a bunch of clients. I do this like, life mapping process. And so I had people kind of do what you're talking about, like map out these pivotal decisions or experiences they had. And then what they did is they looked at what, as a result of that, what got left behind or muted, almost like to try and reverse engineer, like, so what was the soul assignment? What's the thing that came from that? And what came up for a lot of people was they realized, wow, a lot of these soul assignments exposed, like you said, like a new edge or limiting beliefs or a pattern that they were ready to shift so they could be more of who they are at the soul level. But then also there's a lot of resistance that comes with, doing that work. So first of all, do you think soul assignments always expose these edges or limiting beliefs or something that our soul is here to work on? And then if so, how do you move through any resistance around trying to work on that?
Oh, such a good question. It's interesting because someone could have a soul assignment to be born to a family with very little money and be very limited. And they can have a soul assignment to kind of spiral out and live in poverty for a long time. And someone else could be born to that same family and they can decide, I will break this cycle and I will be the one to lift myself and my entire family up. So I don't believe that soul assignments have like a certain like limit that is given with every soul assignment. It's still like a choice and it's still a creation of our own to decide what we're doing with these soul assignments and what is presented to us and the tools that we have and the resources that we have, right? Like you can see 2 people born into the same family that have a completely different experience within that family.
Yeah.
Right. So the second part of your question that's so interesting is kind of like, what do we do with the stories that we carry that don't serve us, right? The stories that we carry, like, if I carried this story that my dad is an alcoholic and he left our family and he just abandoned us and then my sister died. And so people abandoned me and life is horrible. And if that's the edge, that's the limiting belief that I had from my childhood, understandably so, justifiably so.
Yeah.
What do I do with that? I mean, I need some tools. I need to be able to, through awareness, look at that limiting belief. I need to be able to understand that it's not the experience, but it's the meaning that I choose to place on the experience that really matters most. And just because my dad left and my sister died, that doesn't mean I'm unlovable. That doesn't mean I'm broken. That doesn't mean I'm unworthy of a happy life. I get to choose the meaning. And I need to look at some tools to turn my thoughts around, to turn my stories around, to turn my limiting beliefs around. I love the Byron Katie work. I got certified as a Byron Katie facilitator decades ago, which is, these 4 questions and a turnaround. But there's so many different modalities that are similar to Byron Katie where you look at a thought and you say, because of that experience, I'm broken and unlovable. Is it true? Do I know that that's true? Does that thought serve me? No. Then why would I fuel that thought? And why would I base my life around that thought and hand over my life to that thought? What is a thought that's equally as true or truer? That I'm a soul having human experience and I can be and do and have anything I want. That everyone that was a part of those experiences was doing the best that they knew how. And that I get to consciously choose what I create in my life going forward. All of those thoughts are equally as true. Which ones would I water in order to live a happier life? It's pretty clear, right?
Yeah, of course. There's that story about the Native American, I think they're like the Cheyenne tribe. Have you heard the story about the grandfather and the grandson? And he says, like everyone has two wolves arguing in their mind. One is for good and one is for evil. And the grandson says, which wolf do you feed? And the grandfather says, like the wolf that you want to win.
Yeah.
Right. And it's that same sort of vibe. So is there ever, in your experience of coaching people, like, has there ever been like, or the most surprising or the biggest breakthrough where someone like was really stuck and didn't understand that this was a soul assignment, even though it was like, or they like surprised or shocked, or did it change things for them?
They always are. I think because I've been doing this work for so long, I've really been doing this work for 30 years and for decades. And so I can see it, and I don't want to frustrate any of my clients, but I can make it look easy. A client just said to me the other day, you use a certain part of your brain and your heart that I don't have access to. I said, well, that's not true. I've just been building up that muscle of it for a very long time. And you do have access to it. And you just got yourself there and you got yourself to me and this work. So you absolutely have all the resources and everything that you need. I think the biggest thing is that we forget our power. We forget our light. And so when we're in that thought of like, no, I understand your soul assignments, but you don't understand mine. My husband, he's a narcissist and, he's really belittling our kids and, we can't. And I go, hang on a second. Let's think about how you chose this soul assignment. Let's think, did you choose me? And they're like, yes, I know I chose him. And they soften to it and they open up to it. And then they go, oh my God, it's exactly what I needed. And it's my soul needed this lesson and my soul chose this for this, and this reason. And they're rattling it off. And my kids chose it for this reason. And that doesn't mean that when we identify a soul assignment that we go, oh, okay, so we're just a victim of these people and of who they are. It's the opposite.
Right.
When we identify a soul assignment, we stand in our power. And from that place, we can make decisions going forward that really serve us. So we get scared that when we accept and when we radically accept people and things around us, that then we're just going to be a doormat. It's the exact opposite. We stand in our power. We make decisions based on our future and what we do want. We don't make decisions based on that old story and we keep playing small. We stand in our power and we consciously create more of what we want.
I think it's like a hashtag underline rewind moment, right? Because I've heard people, like, I call that what you just described, terminal uniqueness. You don't understand. Mine is the worst.
Yeah.
But I remember I was talking to my coach once a few years ago, and I was like, sharing the litany of things. And instead of trying to like help me get out of it, he said, why do you think you keep choosing this versions of the same problem over and over again? I was like, I'm not choosing. Wait, what do you mean by that? Right. And so when I ask clients, like, why do you think you keep choosing this over and over again? Because it's a soul assignment. Like, wake up, like, look, the book is right there.
Yeah. The story feels so familiar,
Yes.
And so we go down the same path that feels comfortable and familiar. And so if the comfortable, familiar path is I'm a victim of this thing, we're going to keep going down that because it takes a lot of work to create a new path. And so I've had so many stories that don't serve me. Like I'm a terrible mom and my kids are so bad behaved because I'm such a bad mom because I wasn't cut out for this. That didn't serve me. I had to do the work to get off that path because it was comfortable and familiar. I had a comfortable, familiar path that like my husband doesn't communicate well and we're just growing apart and he's so much more negative than me and we're just so different. That doesn't serve me. It's easy to go down that path. Everyone agrees with it. It's common. Everyone can talk about it.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work to pick up the tools and shape a new path that gets you to a new result. But that old path is familiar and easy and going to get you the same result that is absolutely maddening. So we need to do the work, clear the new path to the new result.
I love that. I saw this Instagram post over the weekend. It was like the 6 phases of a relationship. And it was like, I don't remember all of them, but the first one was obviously like butterflies and rainbows. And then there's like, oh, I don't know about you. And then there's like, you're annoying, you know, and like, are we going to like figure out how to work through this? And then it's like acceptance. And I think the last one was legacy. And so my husband goes, are we at legacy yet? And I was like, no, we're kind of at the like between you're annoying and we're figuring it out. Right. But like, because we've been together for 16 years, it's like you're annoying and we figure it out. And like, we have this thing we're creating. And so I think it's really easy for someone to just keep going through and not seeing the soul assignment and just be like, I'm out. Like we discard people, jobs, friendships, because we don't want to look at the soul assignment. Right, Steffani?
Yeah, we give up too early. We're not only are we not ready to look at the soul assignment, but we're also just not willing to put in the work, because the work all comes down to the inner work here for us. It's not, am I ready to put in the work that it's going to take to change and fix my husband? No, it's, am I willing to do the work to change and fix what it's triggering inside of me and the places that love is not appearing?
Amazing.
We get so afraid of it because it's a lot of work and it's very revealing and it's, you know, hard and beautiful and messy in the middle and it's rewarding at the end, but it's a lot of work. And I've been with my husband for 29 years. So we have reinvented our relationship so many different times.
Are you in the legacy phase?
Not even close. No, we're still in the like, you can so annoy me phase and the like, I have a deep soul assignment with this person and I would never want it any other way. Always.
So great.
I think the like accepting the soul assignment to be together is a big key to long-term relationship, because then when you're all in with both feet, and I've always said to my husband, like, this is a soul assignment for us. I am all in, both feet, all in. Like, we both come from tumultuous childhoods. We both have all this baggage. We both have all this stuff that we went through. It would have been easy for us to bail at year 7 and year 17 and year 25 and you're, you know, but now 29 years later, here we are still here because we both agreed and accepted that this is a soul assignment. I remember it 90% of the time. 10% I don't. I freak out and I forget. He remembers it 60% of the time. You know, he's not as deeply spiritual as I am. I have to remind him more often. You know, he just doesn't live in that world. But if it comes down to it, we would both agree that like, okay, we chose to do this. Our souls chose to do this 100%.
I love this. So is there a daily practice or a ritual that our listeners can think about to stay open, to start noticing and like, I'm using the word completing their assignment, but like take on this soul assignment, I guess is what we're talking about. Is there anything they can do on a regular basis?
I would start with a drop-in. You know, for me, meditations don't have to be sitting in a meditation space and getting quiet. I do meditations on the treadmill. I do meditations while my coffee's brewing. I do meditations in the shower, in nature. I have these 3 steps to my meditating. I drop in and I connect to source. I connect to my higher self, to my guides. You know, I just connect. God, universe, whatever you want to call it. Step 2, I visualize the end result of something that I'm excited about and that I want to experience, something in this human soul experience that I want to have, be, do. I picture that. Then I ask for guidance. I don't think we ask for guidance enough. I think the universe has our back. I think we are always guided. I think we have all of the answers. And so even just a drop-in where you're connecting to source and you're asking for guidance, I would think is the one daily habit that will help you identify your soul assignments, radically accept things more often, find your power, like consciously create. Like it does kind of all of that encapsulated in one daily dose drop-in, I call it. You know, it's more powerful than you know, and we overthink it and we think we have to like meditate and we have to get a certain practice, and we don't. We just have to flex that muscle and get better and better at it and like command it and decide and like do it, and then we reap the benefits of it.
Amazing. I'm always talking about getting quiet. So you can't avoid it, people. Well, you can, but every single person is going to tell you to stop avoiding it. What's the biggest soul assignment you're working on right now in your own life?
I think this book, I know it's a soul assignment for me to write this book and get it out there. So I'm really excited about it. And yet it's like taking longer than I want it to, which a lot of things do, like, growing your business and creating content and bettering your relationship and, creating more money. Like people, it doesn't have to take longer, but like, I am sitting in the gratitude and joy of all that has happened with it already, and anxious anticipation that it's already happening and that it's here, that it's all falling into place. So that's the assignment that I'm most leaning into the edge of lately is this book and when it's going to be released. And my end result that I want is just that it helps more women find more daily happiness, to know that life doesn't have to be about suffering, that they can find more joy. So that's what I'm holding on to.
I love that. I think mine right now is around different forms of patience. Like patience, even in like responding to things, big picture stuff, like holding on to truths while things are unfolding. So I like to look at like, what's the common theme, and then look at it through that lens and be like, ooh. Look, you hear it showing up here. It's showing up here. Okay. I'm in it to win it. Love. My last question for you is really silly, but I put in ChatGPT, what is a question that I can ask Steffani that will make her smile? And this is the question that came up. So if this soul assignment you're working on right now had a theme song, what would it be?
Oh,
thank you, Chatty G.
So I have a playlist. It's called Feeling First, and I listen to it every morning, and I get into the feeling place of this book being really well received and wildly popular, serving a lot of people. So some of those songs on that playlist, Joy by Andy Grammer.
Love that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the one I lean into most, and just like I found joy. Yeah.
Amazing. So everyone who's listening, if you're like, I wonder what my soul assignment is, my divorce, or my soul assignment is this chronic pain I have in my hip, or my soul assignment right now is struggling with my kids. What's your theme song? Find one, get it on your playlist. Do Steffani's practice. Let's all send collective light and energy that this book just happened so we all can read it. Again, we're back on the show and it's time for the launch.
Yes,
we're going to make that happen. Thank you so much for being here. Ladies and gents, if you're listening, I always remind you at the end of every show, like, this is your opportunity. This podcast is called Life Check Yourself. It is check yourself. What's the soul assignment? Take responsibility. Rewind this. Think about something that applies in your life now. Send it to a friend as a way of support. But whatever you do, remember, in all ways and always, don't forget, life check yourself. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now. Hey, thanks for tuning in today. Listen, if you're feeling stuck, I want you to know you're not alone, and you don't have to settle for it. I've created a free quiz to help you pinpoint what's draining your energy and exactly how you can fix it. So head over to decodeyourdestinyquiz.com and take the 60-second quiz right now. That's decodeyourdestinyquiz.com. And if you're ready to dive deeper, you can book a free no-obligation consultation at marnibattista.com/private coaching. That's Marni, M-A-R-N-I, Battista, B-A-T-T-I-S, as in Sam, T-A.com/private coaching, all one word. Let's take the first step to creating a life you love on your terms. I'm Marni, and I'll see you next time.